1. International Court of Justice, ICJ, Advisory Opinion on Climate Change Obligations. Sector: Environmental and International Law. Significance: the ICJ's historic advisory opinion declared that all states have binding legal obligations under international law to protect the climate system from greenhouse gas emissions. The court clarified that failure to act on climate change could result in international responsibility, including reparations for environmental harm. This opinion is now a global reference point for climate accountability and is expected to embolden further climate litigation against both states and corporations. Impact: set a new global standard for climate accountability. Strengthen the legal basis for climate lawsuits worldwide. Influence national courts and policy on environmental protection. 2. SEC v. Jarkesy, U.S. Supreme Court, June 2025. Sector: Corporate, Securities, and Constitutional Law. Significance: the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the SEC cannot seek civil penalties in its administrative courts, holding that the Seventh Amendment entitles defendants to a jury trial in such cases. This decision fundamentally altered the SEC's enforcement strategy, requiring more cases to be brought in federal court and reshaping the landscape for securities litigation and regulatory risk management. Impact: limited the SEC's use of administrative proceedings for civil penalties. Increased procedural protections for defendants. Shifted the balance of power in securities enforcement. 3. Thomson Reuters Enterprise Center GmbH v. Ross Intelligence Incorporated D. Delaware, 2025. Sector: Technology, Intellectual Property, and AI Law. Significance: this was the first major federal court decision addressing the use of copyrighted material to train AI systems. The court held that Ross's use of Westlaw's headnotes and case summaries to train its legal research AI tool was not protected by fair use, setting a critical precedent for generative AI and copyright law. Impact: established that AI training using copyrighted works without authorization is likely infringing. Forced AI developers to reconsider data sourcing and licensing. Influenced ongoing and future copyright litigation against AI companies. 4. Transportation Network Drivers Company Labor Relations Act, California, 2025. Sector: Labor and Employment Law. Significance: California's enactment of this act authorized gig economy drivers to unionize and engage in collective bargaining while retaining their status as independent contractors. This legislative change was a landmark in the ongoing debate over gig worker rights and is expected to serve as a model for similar legislation elsewhere. Impact: redefine labor rights for platform-based workers. Prompted significant shifts in employment law practice. Influenced labor policy debates globally. 5. Moody v. NetChoice, LLC, U.S. Supreme Court, 2025. Sector: Constitutional, Technology, and Platform Regulation. Significance: the Supreme Court reviewed the constitutionality of state laws restricting social media platforms' ability to moderate content using algorithms, including AI. The court's decision clarified the limits of state power over technology platforms' content moderation, especially when AI is involved, and set a national standard for the interplay between free speech rights and algorithmic moderation. Impact: define the boundaries of free speech and platform liability in the digital age. Influenced legislative efforts and ongoing litigation regarding platform moderation. Set a precedent for AI-driven content curation and digital rights. These 5 cases and legal developments define 2025, setting new standards for climate action, securities enforcement, AI and copyright, labor rights in the gig economy, and digital platform regulation. Their influence will shape legal practice, policy, and business strategy for years to come.